Did you ever watch the debate afterwards?
I don't think I did, no. I just think it cost me a really bad night, bad run. But, you know, George...
It's just ridiculous. Absolutely nut job behavior.
I'm good.
Would you be willing to undergo an independent medical evaluation that included neurological and cognitive tests and release the results to the American people?
Look, I have a cognitive test every single day.
To reassure them, would you be willing to have the independent medical evaluation?
Look.
Okay? This is to the point of insanity.
What's going on, guys? So today we got another Joe Biden impromptu cognitive test. Okay, so we got George Stephanopoulos, aka Stephanopoulos from ABC, interviewing Sleepy Joe Biden to see if he still got it. You know he's going to ask him some tough questions because times are rough right now. They need to see if it's time to get Joe Biden the heck up out of this race, get him out of there, and they're going to be pressuring him more than ever before. So without further ado, I won't waste any time. Let's get into it.
You and your team have said you had a bad night, but your friend Nancy Pelosi actually framed the question that I think is on the minds of millions of Americans. Was this a bad episode or the sign of a more serious condition?
It was a bad episode. No indication of any serious condition. I was exhausted. I didn't listen to my instincts in terms of preparing, and I had a bad night.
Even, look, I want to point something out. Even the way that this dude, like, breathes between, it's like, he's like, it was a bad episode. You know, it was exhausted. It's like he's taking these big inhales and exhales, like, between every couple words. Like, this dude needs to go to a hospital.
You came home from Europe about 11 or 12 days before the debate, spent 6 days in Camp David. Why wasn't that enough rest time, enough recovery time?
Because I was sick. I was feeling terrible. Matter of fact, the docs with me, I asked if they did a COVID test because they're trying to figure out what was wrong. They did a test to see whether or not I had some infection, you know, a virus. I didn't. They just had a really bad cold.
How you had a cold and a really bad one, but you had no type of virus at all? That means you pretty much got some sort of pneumonia.
And did you ever watch the debate afterwards?
I don't think I did, no.
Well, what I want to get at is what were you experiencing as you were going through the debate? Did you know how badly it was going?
Why this dude just have his mouth open the whole, bruh? Okay, look, let's take a quick peek at Joe Biden. He has his mouth clearly open, like the whole time.
Did you know how badly it was going?
Yeah, look. And I realized about partway through that he also lied 28 times. I mean, the way the debate ran, not my fault, no one else's fault. No one else's fault.
But it seemed like you were having trouble from the first question in, even before he spoke.
Well, I just had a bad night. You've had some bad interviews once in a while. I can't remember any, but I'm sure you did.
I've had plenty. I guess the question, the problem is here for a lot of Americans watching is you've said, going back to 2020, watch me, to people who are concerned about your age. And, you know, 50 million Americans watched that debate. It seemed to confirm fears they already had.
Even when I was answering a question, even though they turned his mic off, he was still shouting. And I let it distract me. I'm not blaming it on that. But I realized that I just wasn't in control.
But part of the other concern is that this seems to...
Bruh, I am not trying to hear nothing about Trump was still yelling because Joe Biden tried to speak several times when his mic was off. Donald Trump tried to speak a couple times when his mic was off. I didn't see anybody yelling and being distracting. Like, this guy is literally just saying anything and then trying to say, but that's no excuse, that's no excuse. You're right, Joe. It's no excuse.
Fit into a pattern of decline that has been reported on recently. New York Times had a headline on July 2nd, Biden's lapses are said to be increasingly common and worrisome. Here's what they wrote. People who have spent time with President Biden over the last few months or so said the lapses appear to have grown more frequent, more pronounced, and after Thursday's debate, more worrisome. By many accounts, as evidenced by video footage, observation, and interviews, Mr. Biden is not the same today as he was even when he took office 3.5 years ago. Similar reporting in the Washington Post and the Wall Street Journal. Are you the same man today that you were when you took office 3.5 years ago?
In terms of successes, yes.
But what has all that work over the last 3.5 years cost you physically, mentally, emotionally?
Well, I just think it cost me a really bad night, a bad run. But, you know, George,
I understand that, and I'm not disputing that. What I'm asking you is about your personal situation. Do you dispute that there have been more lapses, especially in the last several months?
can I run the 110 flat? No. But I'm still in good shape.
Are you more frail?
No.
I know you
Come
spoke.
keep my schedule.
I know you spoke with your doctor after the debate. What did he say?
Are you more like, yo, George? Did you used to work for the Obama camp? What you mean? George Stephanopoulos kind of going in on him a little bit, bro.
Okay.
He said, he just
Let me go
looked
back
at
a
me.
little bit.
He said, you're,
I know you spoke with your doctor after
All right.
the debate. What did he say?
he said, he just looked at me. He said, you're exhausted.
Have you had a full neurological and cognitive evaluation?
I get a full neurological test every day with me.
I know your doctor said he consulted with a neurologist. I guess I'm asking a slightly different question. Have you had the specific cognitive tests, and have you had a neurologist, a specialist, do an examination?
No, no one said I had to. No one said, they said I'm good.
Cap! That's cap! What is cap? What is cap?
Would you be willing to undergo an independent medical evaluation that included neurological and cognitive tests and release the results to the American people?
Look, I have a cognitive test every single day. Every day I have that test. Everything I do. You know, not only am I campaigning.
Joe Biden is getting destroyed. George, why would you do this, George? This is betrayal. You're supposed to be with the left. Maybe he is with the left, trying to make sure they win, because crooked Joe Biden ain't gonna do it. But George, you betraying Joe Biden. Okay, Jill is gonna be pissed. Okay, this is ridiculous.
Their concerns about your age and your health are growing, so that's why I'm asking, to reassure them, would you be willing to have the independent medical evaluation?
Watch me there's a lot of time left in this campaign.
So
I'll
the
make
answer,
a decision.
the right answer right now is no, you don't want to do that right
No,
now.
I've already done it.
He's afraid. You're afraid. It's okay to be afraid.
And the question on so many people's minds right now is, can you serve effectively for the next 4 years?
George,
No.
I'm the guy that put NATO together.
Hell
the future. No one thought I could expand it. I'm the guy that shut Putin down. No one thought could happen. I'm the guy that put together the South Pacific.
You shut Putin down. When did that happen? Ain't Ukraine still getting their ass kicked?
I have a great staff.
But I guess my point is, all that takes a toll. Do you have the mental and physical capacity to do it for another 4 years?
I believe so. I wouldn't be running if I didn't think I did. Look,
Are you sure you're being honest with yourself when you say you have the mental and physical capacity to serve another 4 years?
yes, I am, because, George, the last thing I want to do is not be able to meet that. I think as some of...
Bruh, this dude gonna be 86 years old if he were to win the presidency. That's cap, okay? A lot of people is dead before 82, which is his age. And he's saying he could definitely do it for another 4 years. This dude is lying. That was a stupid question, George, because you already know he's gonna just lie to you.
But are you being honest with yourself as well about your ability to defeat Donald Trump right now?
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
You say that, and let me challenge you,
Sure.
because you were close but behind going into the debate. You're further behind now by any measure. It's been a two-man race for several months. Inflation has come down. In those last few months, he's become a convicted felon, yet you're still falling further behind.
You guys keep saying that. George, you know polling better than anybody. Do you think polling data is accurate as it used to be?
I don't think so, but I think when you look at all of the polling data right now, it shows that he's certainly ahead in the popular vote, probably even more ahead in the battleground states. And one of the other key factors there is it shows that in many of the battleground states, the Democrats who are running for Senate and the House are doing better than you are.
Well, that's not unusual in some states.
What?
Slap yourself.
2020 was a close race, and your approval rating has dropped significantly since then. I think the last poll I saw was at about 36%. The number of Americans who think you're too old to serve has doubled since 2020. Wouldn't a clear-eyed political calculus tell you that it's going to be much tougher to win in 2024?
Not when you're running against a pathological liar.
I'm sorry, but you are a huge loser.
Do you really believe you're not behind right now?
I think all the pollsters I talk to tell me it's a toss-up.
That's cap, and you know it.
It's a toss-up. And when I'm behind...
What pollers? What the fuck? What pollers you talking to? What poll? This, bruh, that's cap, Joe. That's cap, okay? Look. Look, this is what you need, okay? Let's go, Brandon. This is what you need to have on your head right now. Let's go, Brandon, because that's cap, Joe.
You won the popular vote in 2020, but it was still deadly close in the Electoral
By 7
College.
million votes.
Yes, but you're behind now in the popular vote.
I don't buy that.
Is it worth the risk?
I don't think anybody's more qualified to be president or win this race than me.
You know, the heart of your case against Donald Trump is that he's only out for himself, putting his personal interest ahead of the national interest. How do you respond to critics who say that by staying in the race, you're doing the same thing?
Oh, come on. Well, I don't think those critics know what they're talking about.
Joe Biden's ego demands a second term. Screw Joe Biden's ego. We're going to lose the goddamn country.
If you can be convinced that you cannot defeat Donald Trump, will you stand down?
It depends if the Lord Almighty comes out and tells me that, I might do that. They all said I should stay in the race. Stay in the race. None of the people said I should leave.
But if they do?
Well, it's like, they're not going to do that.
You sure?
Well, yeah, I'm sure. Look, I mean, if the Lord Almighty came out and said, Joe, get out of the race, I get out of the race, the Lord Almighty's not coming down.
If you are told reliably from your allies, from your friends and supporters in the Democratic Party, in the House and the Senate, that they're concerned you're going to lose the House and the Senate if you stay in, what will you do?
I'm not going to answer that question. It's not going to happen.
What's your plan to turn the campaign around?
I give George this. He is hammering the hell out of Joe Biden. This is actually brutal to watch. I would hate to be in this chair. This is a freaking hot seat right now.
I've not seen what you're proposing.
You haven't seen the fall off in the polls. You haven't seen the reports of discontent in the Democratic Party, House Democrats, Senate Democrats.
I've seen it from the press.
I'm going to show you guys a reaction from the Young Turks. You know that they don't really mess with Biden because he's just too freaking sleepy. Take a look.
Yeah, which one is it? Is it a really bad cold or a jet lag from 12 days ago? When you start changing your story like that over and over, it's not helpful. Okay, so the bar is so low for Joe Biden, he finished those sentences and they were complete sentences. So when you look at that tape, it's almost like a little bit of relief, like, oh, but wait, hold. Yes, can you make heads or tails out of that? Is that like, okay, that's it, we dodged the bullet, or that's not reassuring yet?
It's not particularly reassuring. This is where the Democratic Party has gotten us, right? This has been in the works for decades, let's say, right? Let's go back several presidential elections. Let's go back to Hillary. Even let's go back to Obama, right? This is the Democratic Party that they've been crafting. They didn't let us have Bernie. They didn't let us have Elizabeth Warren. They gave us Joe Biden. This was the guy that they said we had to take. He was old 4 years ago. He's older now. He's 4 years older now. He's going to be 4 years older if and when he wins a second term in office. And so far, like, just getting through this election cycle is very, very rough. His first debate was a disaster and did not instill a lot of confidence in people. But even before that debate, he was struggling really to prove to people that he was competent and that he was cogent and coherent and that he's somebody who can do this job, the most stressful job in the world, for another 4 years.
When the bar is so low to begin with, I mean, it was better. He wasn't, he finished his sentence.
Oh my God! Wow!
Okay, this is the nuttiest conversation ever. We are sitting up here wondering, George Stephanopoulos actually probably took a day and a half to prepare for this interview to find out if the current president, a man who is trying to get reelected, is competent. It's just ridiculous. Absolutely nut job behavior here, okay? This is to the point of insanity, okay? I don't know if he's competent or not, but the minute I have to ask, it's over, okay?
Facts.
It's over. This is not going to help, okay? Unless he says, listen, somebody in the Trump campaign, we've learned from the FBI and Secret Service, they drugged him,
What did he say?
somehow got to his coffee, okay, or whatever he was drinking, a monster drink to keep him awake. They drugged him, and that's it. Let's move on. There's nothing else to see here. I haven't heard that yet. I haven't heard that.
Bro, I really don't think that this moved the needle at all. I really feel like Joe Biden is just totally cooked. Honestly, I really feel like there's nothing that could bring this campaign back. I do not see him stepping aside. 100% agree. The second we got to start asking about cognitive tests and everybody is constantly just roasting Joe Biden, he's become the butt of a joke. Effectively, one of the goals behind this channel is to delegitimize clownery, foolery, wokeness, like people like Joe Biden, the Democrats. So effectively, it appears as though we've won at least a battle. The war is not over at least until November, or at least one of our toughest battles has to be won on November 5th. But at least the battle to delegitimize Joe Biden, at minimum, it appears as though that one's over. But there's only one way to find out, and it's on November 5th. So we shall see if we can kick his ass then. But it sure as heck is looking like he's doing a fine job all on his own. The crazy thing here is the Democrats have made all of this happen. The political persecutions of Trump, the false and phony media smearing that turns people like me and millions of others against them, right? Like putting Joe Biden out there instead of, like, they didn't even have to have Joe Biden. They could have picked, they could have had Bernie Sanders. Hell, they could have had Kamala, Buttigieg. They had other people, but no, they picked Joe Biden instead. There were so many things that they could have done to get themselves to not be in this position. But it's like when you're corrupt and stupid and evil and unethical and immoral and liars, this is the type of things that happen in your life. Okay, you get people like Joe Biden with failing, miserable campaigns, trying and clawing desperately to get out of this situation, knowing that inevitably come November 5th, it's all gonna amount to an epic failure of dramatic and extreme proportions. It's going to be the penultimate failure, probably the biggest failure of a party in the history of this country. And oh, I am salivating at the damn mouth waiting for that day. Drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new. I appreciate y'all watching the Black Anomaly Rising channel. I'm out.
You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.